Today we're changing the oil on this 97 Honda CR-V. Things you're going to need to do this. This particular vehicle takes 4 quarts of oil. You can check your owner's manual to make sure that's what you need as well. Auto Parts Store can also tell you that. We have a new oil filter, and we have a new crush washer to put on the oil pan drain plug. Tools, we have just a basin to drain the oil into. We have a 16mm socket and ratchet, and we also have a torque wrench. Torque wrench is good to have, but you don't necessarily need it. So to start the job, already come over here and taken the vehicle for a drive to warm up the oil and let it flow easier. I just drove up and down my street a few times. So then we're going to come, once we get done with the drive, come over and take the oil fill cap off the valve cover on the engine. And now we're ready to drain the oil. So if you come on the driver's side of the vehicle, come underneath the front of it over here, and come underneath, you can see the oil pan right underneath here. It's got some oil on it there. If we come to the back, you can see the drain plug right in the middle of the screen there. Okay, so now that we've got the drain plug loosened with a 16mm wrench, you can unscrew it the rest of the way by hand. You want to keep pressure on the threads to make sure that try to keep a seal in there so oil doesn't come out too soon. Once it starts coming out like that, you can go ahead and grab the plug and pull it away. Try not to drop it in the bucket. If you do, it's not a huge deal. You easily pulled out. There we go. Now we'll just let this drain for a little while. Okay, so to get the old crush washer off, I was having a hard time getting it off, so what I did was I took a pair of channel locks like this. I grabbed the crush washer with them, and I put the wrench on the head of the bolt, and basically turned it off like it was a nut, and it came off pretty easily. So that's what you might have to do too. So now that this is all set right here, we get the crush washer off. We're going to go ahead and slide the new one on. We're going to make sure that the threads and everything on here are clean. Make sure you didn't get anything on it while you were had it out of the hole there. We're going to go back underneath the vehicle, make sure the area around where the new crush washer will sit is clean, and make sure there's no debris that's going to cause a leak. So it's pretty simple. I mean, if the old one wasn't leaking, chances are the new one probably won't either. Alright, so now that it's slowed to a drip here, we're going to go ahead. We've already cleaned up the mating surface where the crush washer will sit, so we're going to go ahead and put the new bolt back in. We're going to torque it to 33 foot-pounds. That's what the Haynes manual I have for this vehicle said. If you don't have a torque wrench, you just want to get it nice and snug so that the crush washer is starting to crush, I guess. You don't want to go over tight and end up stripping the threads on the drain pan, or you're going to be replacing a drain pan. So it's always nice to have a torque wrench anyways, so maybe it's a good excuse to go get one. Next thing here, we're going to come and find the oil filter, which is in the back of the engine. You can kind of see a blue thing in the middle of the screen there. It's a lot easier to get to from the bottom. Right there, and I'm going to pull that out. Alright, so now that we're underneath the car, you can barely see the oil filter right there. I'm just going to reach my hand up, unscrew it, and let the oil that's in it drain into the bucket down here. Okay, so if we look at the instructions on the filter, so number 1, clean the surface where the rubber gasket is going to sit. Number 2, pre-fill the filter with a little bit of oil. And number 3, tighten it up until the rubber gasket right there makes contact with the engine block. number 4. We're going to turn it 3/4 of a turn after the rubber seal makes contact. So you want to be able to tell when that makes contact and then go 3/4 of a turn. Alright, so we've got a little bit of oil in the filter now. What I like to do as well is I'll take and stick my finger inside the one of the quart bottles of the oil. I'll get oil on my finger, and then I'll go ahead and rub it around on the rubber seal here, just so that it doesn't get all chewed up and torn when putting it back on the engine. So we're going to follow the instructions, install this, and then we're going to refill the engine with oil. Alright, we're here filling the engine back up with oil again, and just a quick tip for you that sometimes don't think of, but it seems too obvious afterwards. If you want, you can use a funnel for this, but if you don't have a funnel to fill this back up, what you can do is get one of your quarts poured into the engine, and you can take a knife or a pair of scissors and cut around the middle of this, cutting the bottom off, and you can use an old oil quart container as your funnel. Alright, so I just put 3 3/4 of a quart into the engine. The manual says it should take 4 quarts. I like to usually stay 1/4 of a quart to 1/2 a quart below what's recommended, just in case not all the oil came out of the engine. It's a lot easier to add more later than it is to take some out. So once you're done with this, you can put the cap back on, and your last and final step will be to check the level of the oil with the dipstick and add more oil as needed. Chances are you'll be able to use the full 4 quarts, but just a little precaution I usually do. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to post below. Thanks.